So what do you know about Jess Franco? Jess Franco was a Spanish director, a prolific Spanish director who directed in all genres, mostly we would call cult or genre films. He directed in the genre, from most in Europe, almost entirely in Europe as far as I know. A lot of movies. How many did he make? A lot of them. From the 60s well into the 90s, if not later. Pretty much up until his death, I think he was cranking out films. And Blue Underground has released one of them from 1969, The Girl from Rio. This is a spy Bond kind of thing based on the Sax Rohmer character of Sumaru, who was the basis of a film called The Million Eyes of Sumaru, which in a vague way this is a sequel to, or this is a sequel to. But for some reason they couldn't get the rights or didn't want to pay for the rights to the Sumaru character in this film, so she's called on screen. If you watch the lips, everybody says Sumaru, but in the film they call her Sumatra or Samara, or they call her at least one other thing during the film that's not Sumaru, even though the lips never match. It's all I think it's all entirely, if not mostly, post-sync dialogue anyway. So this guy, stars of the film, Shirley Eaton from Goldfinger, she who was painted gold, Jill Masterson in Goldfinger, is the titular Sumaru, or Samara, or Samsara, or whatever she's called in this movie. George Sanders is a man who hires our guy here, our main man, Richard Wyler, pretty boy Richard Wyler, to come to Rio to try to entrap Sumaru and foil her. She is this woman who is a criminal mastermind, and she has a place called, is it Femina? Femina, City of Women. This is a city that's like separated from Rio, that's all run by women. The men have been banished, and there is a self-destruct device that we are shown in the film where if a man ever gets close to it, it blows up, it blows it all to hell, blows the whole place up, which is a shame because if you ever had a guy into like maybe service the air conditioning there and you got a little too close, you don't want that to just kill your entire civilization and all that you've worked for, but that's the setup of this film. So it is just a pulp novel plot line for this. So Richard Wyler is hired by George Sanders. The idea is that he is known to have a suitcase with $10 million, and Sumaru is just trying to amass all the wealth that she can in her plot to eventually take over the world. So Wyler wiles his wormy way into her good graces, into Femina, and is held captive in these weird psychedelic chambers, and he gets a little friendly with the ladies, and it's a goofy movie. Like most Jess Franco films, I'm biased. I've not really seen a Jess Franco movie I thought was very good. So there are elements of this that I liked. Then there are also many elements of this that I thought were just really poorly done. The music is pretty cool. There's some very cool groovy mod fashions. The clothes that all of Sumaru's army of women wear look like they're something out of Barbarella, which I like. And some of the sets look like they're out of Barbarella, which I like, which was right around the same time as this. And you get to see some of Rio. The transfer on this is gorgeous. This is a Blu-ray and a 4K from Blue Underground that we're talking about here. A Blu-ray disc and a 4K disc. And I'll get into that a little bit more. But overall, the movie is goofy. It's silly. It's hard to take seriously. I don't necessarily think anybody who made it was really taking it that seriously. And it's a fun 60s spy movie throwback, but it is, rife with the Franco-isms of zooms in and out, zooms in on things or zooms out on things, and something maybe not totally being in focus, and it being a little fast and loose, which I guess is how he made his films. So let's talk about what's on this disc. So the disc itself, it looks gorgeous. New artwork that looks gorgeous. And as we see here, it's 4K, Ultra HD, and Blu-ray. I'll show it to you and then I'll read it to you. So the slip case slips to reveal the same art, front and back. We crack her open, and we get the Ultra HD with an image of Shirley Eaton and the regular Blu-ray there. The movie is on both. It's the same transfer on both. What are the extras? So you get, the film is 94 minutes, by the way. It is widescreen 1:6:6:1. All region. So you can pop this in anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world. You could take this to Rio. You could buy this here in these United States. You could go on vacation to Rio. You could pop it in a Blu-ray player in Rio, and it would work in Rio. Same for France and Hong Kong. Disc 1, the 4K disc. The extra is Solamente, the audio commentary with film historians Nathaniel Thompson and Troy Howarth, who are always great. The rest of the supplements are saved for disc 2. Sometimes companies do this to devote the entire bit rate of the disc to the really, really gorgeous looking 4K transfer, of which this is. Disc 2, the regular Blu-ray, has the same gorgeous transfer. It's just not sharp because it's not in 4K, but the additional space on the disc allows for all these extras. So you also get the commentary on there. You get a new featurette, Rocking in Rio, interview with Stephen Thrower, author of Murderous Passions, The Delirious Cinema of Jesus Franco. And that, I wrote down, is 41 minutes long. You get Rolling in Rio, interviews with director Jess Franco, producer Harry Allen Towers, and star Shirley Eaton. This was done from a previous release. That is 14 minutes, and it's really interesting how frank Shirley Eaton is. This is basically the movie, I don't want to say if it's the movie that ended her career, but it's the movie she chose to not make movies after she made. You have a new interview, a new feature, additional scenes from the German version. There's like a 10-minute prologue to this film that sets up the whole Richard Wyler character and his plot, and there's like, it's content. It's not just a frivolous thing. It's this movie's version of the heist scene, the subway heist scene from Escape from New York. You know, the movie exists fine without it, but having it in there is kind of cool and gives you a little bit more information. You have a trim reel, which is just little things that were trimmed out of the film, so it's really just little flashes here and there. Some slates, which is kind of cool. And oddly, a small sequence from a Godzilla movie, which makes me think they probably got a print of a Godzilla movie and lifted a shot of just an explosion and cut it into this movie. And this was what was like just before, just after that explosion. Because you see Japanese scientists in Godzilla very briefly amongst all the shots of George Sanders and Shirley Eaton in here, and the fembot type women. You get the Riff Tracks version. It's a new Riff Tracks version of The Girl from Rio. That runs 78 minutes, so it runs a little bit shorter than this version, but it is the guys from Mystery Science Theater riffing this film, and it's very funny. Made me laugh out loud a couple times. So available now on Blu-ray from Blue Underground as a 4K and Blu-ray set, which I love because you can buy this and you get all the cool new extras and you get the nice new transfer. And if you don't have a 4K, you just let it sit. You let it keep until you get a 4K player. And if you never get a 4K player, you can always just watch the Blu-ray player. The Girl from Rio.